What's up, guys? This is Jay from Generation Geek, and today we are getting back into the Sentry Part 3. I know I have been a little bit away from this series, but there's been a lot going on with the channel and with life in school. But here we are back again, and finally we get some freaking answers to what is going on in this story. As always, if you guys are new here, please like, share, subscribe, and join the Geek fam. We'll love to have you. So in this, we pick up where we were in Dallas, Texas, with Ryan Topper, who is claiming himself to be the new Sentry, is meeting with the Avengers. And immediately these guys are on their guard, as deserved. Of course, as we know with the Avengers and history of the Sentry, he hasn't been the most reliable hero, but has always seemed to be the most powerful. I can't think of anybody who is as powerful as the Sentry other than like the freaking Scarlet Witch. And of course, she's on this team as well. So he's over here talking to them, and they're like, we really need to, assess you and take you in, just get to know each other a little bit better, because our history with Sentries aren't the best. And then at some point, they ask Scarlet Witch to take a look into his mind, and like anybody, this is an invasion of privacy. But in this case, I would say it's understandably so why he reacts the way that he does, and this guy just freaks out. Now, the part that I find the most interesting, now we know how much they have been pushing Carol Danvers as the most powerful Avenger and all this other stuff. So she goes chasing after Ryan, and she's like, oh, you're not that much faster than me, and this man just takes off. Now, mind you, Ryan does not have all the full powers of the Sentry yet. He's not fully together, because Mallory still has her portion of the Sentry's power as well, even though he's taken majority of the power from the other wielders of the power. But he still does not have the full contingency of all of the power of the Sentry. So even with him not being fully 100%, she still cannot keep up with him. So that's just a nice little thing to notice, especially when it comes to like power scaling and stuff like that, just how far above Carol Sentry really is and always was. And then we finally get an explanation of how these people got their powers. So for those of you who don't know, Doctor Strange was killed recently in comics and then was brought back as Death's Sorcerer Supreme. In that story, he was going against the Blasphemy Cartel that was directed and led by Director Nunn, who was this guy with the white mask with a zero on it. And basically what he did was he got all these millions of spirits, a million exploding spirits or whatever. He got all of these spirits to host in Sentry's body and use his power to their own means. And Doctor Strange and Clea had this cool moment when they had to fuse together, like on some Dragon Ball Z stuff. When they fused together, they were able to defeat the resurrected Sentry with all the evil spirits inside and cast them all out. But apparently one of the spirits got away, and when it did, it let loose all of this power in the train station. Well, of course, all of the hosts were, and that's how we have people like Mallory and Ryan who got the Sentry's power. And that I don't quite like too much, because as we know, the spirits were inhabiting the body of Sentry, but the power within the Sentry was his own. So it wasn't the power from the spirit. But I digress. It's their story. It's how they're telling it. It is what it is. But that's how they got their powers. We pick back up with Mallory, who's still feeling down on herself. Her parents think she's dead, so they're planning funeral arrangements, and she can hear her friends and her parents, talking over her as if she's gone, which she really isn't. But she's still not ready to reveal herself because she cannot quite control her powers yet. But in the meantime, she's still doing some super hearing as like this yellow streak, and is just zooming in and out of catastrophes and doing the best she can to help as many people as possible. Then Misty and Jessica Jones, or Jessica Cage, go to Clea and Doctor Strange to get the history again on the Blasphemy Cartel and where this errant spirit came from and how it got these powers and things like that. So they give it a whole rundown of what happened in that issue. They ask Clea to actually find them, and when she tries to, she can only find 3 of them. Now, as we know, Ryan has been eliminating the other hosts, so therefore there aren't many other hosts to look for. There's just 3, and there's a new one that we didn't know about who seems to have more control over the power than Ryan or Mallory's. Her name is Denise Dara. She lives in Toronto, and she's actually this businesswoman who's actually been just running around saving people, coming back to work. It's like really cool. She seems to have more control over her powers in general. We even have an instance of her really taking out the Wrecking Crew. Now, I don't like how the Wrecking Crew gets done. These guys literally have the power of Asgardians. Granted, it's to a smaller scale that they get the power from the Wrecker, but they're still pretty tough, and she just literally takes these guys out. So it just shows you how far Sentry is above the likes of like Asgardian or Asgardian power beings like the Wrecking Crew. And she just knocks them out, no sweat, goes to Wisconsin, comes all the way back to Canada, and just gets back to her work. And she's also at home cooking with her cat. A Shatori Leviathan comes in, she goes, takes that out, and then we have Ryan Topper, who meets her back home. And she's like, I'm trying to help you, I can help you learn how to use these powers and stuff like that. And then Ryan does what Ryan has been doing, and he attacks her and eventually eliminates her as well, absorbing his power within himself. But before he eliminates her, she kind of creeps into his mind a little bit, and that's when we see that the other host that he's been eliminating, their consciousness is actually still alive within him. And they're trying to get a message out to her, and she's like, what is going on? He's been trying to keep them quiet. So now we start to see, the cracks with them as well. Even though he doesn't have the split personality like Sentry did with the Void, the schizophrenia, we can obviously say that Ryan is a freaking psychopath. And now he's having the other hosts in there, and they're basically taunting him and messing with him, because I would be too if you obviously eliminated me. I would be messing with you if I'm inside your body. Like, you're not getting any rest, bro. Like, that's over with.
We interrupt our program to bring you this important message.
What's up, guys? This is Jay. As you guys know, we love making content for you guys, but as we're starting to notice, many of you are watching, but many of you are not subbing. So why not join the Geek fam? Come rock with us. Just hit that sub button, hit the bell. We'll love to have you. Y'all be blessed. Peace. And then Jessica finds Mallory, and she gets to having this conversation with Mallory, and she tells Mallory, like, I've fought with Daredevil, who we know has a disability and stuff like that. She's saying how she can't be this hero because of cerebral palsy and all this other stuff. He's worried about hurting somebody. And she's like, bro, I've literally fought with a blind man, like, who relies on the walking canes, and even one that's battling cancer, which was Jane Foster. And they always find a way to get the job done, just to show her that your disability does not determine who you are as a hero. And it kind of uplifts Mallory's spirits a little bit, and she really needed that. And so Mallory finally gets the courage to go, and approach her parents, let her know that she's not deceased, and she has these powers now. And Jessica's like, I'll be right behind you. But before that happens, we get the heat vision of freaking Ryan Topper, who has these red glowing Superman eyes, which is kind of weird because the Sentry's energy is yellow, but his eyes are red. And I don't know if this is some take on the Void coming back or something like that, but he says she should have stayed on the moon. And that is the end of this issue. So you guys tell me what you think. Of course, like I said, I like some of the power scaling stuff. You guys know how I am about power scaling. I like how they show how much powerful and faster he is than Carol. That made me happy because they've been pushing Carol like super hard, and it's been kind of irritating me. But also, I did not like how they made it that the energy from that lost soul from the Sentry's corpse was able to give them powers. That really didn't make too much sense to me, as we know that the Sentry's power is basically based on science for the most part. There has been some instances where they were saying, that the Void came before, time and like Babylon and stuff like that, but they've never really explored that too much. So I don't know. What do you guys think? As always, leave in the comments below. I have been Jay from Generation Geek, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.